lose weight, clear up that brain fog, and kick your sugar and other food habits that you want to kick. Wah! In this video, we're going to talk about the fasting mimicking diet, mainly from the Longevity Diet book by Dr. Valter Longo. I will link everything in the description. And this book is just chock full of good information about how to live a great life. Longevity meaning like living a long life of strength, vitality, wellness, aging well. Yes, 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 please. So I've done the fasting mimicking diet DIY style now 7 times so far. And I've done the official Prolon kit to compare and contrast once. So in total, I've done this 8 times. I've seen amazing results. Every time I go into it, I am always a little bit scared. I do love it. I highly recommend it to almost everybody. We'll get into who should do it and who probably shouldn't. We will go over what the fasting mimicking diet is exactly, the effects and all of the benefits, how to do it DIY style, and then at the end of the video, I will share with you the very surprising results that I personally experienced. Just an important note, you gotta know that anytime somebody's like, wild results in only 5 days, nothing actually permanently sets in only 5 days, right? For the majority of things that happen in life, especially losing weight and maintaining it, especially kicking things like sugar habits, because eventually you're going to eat something sugary, it's going to trigger you and all the things. Permanent, lasting change comes with habits. Yeah, habits. The huge benefit of doing an FMD or a fasting mimicking diet, or even the DIY style, is that it is this amazing springboard. It is a catalyst, and it just propels you into so much empowerment, so much confidence. You see results a lot faster. Of all my reading and review of Prolon and the fasting mimicking diet, I've never heard of anybody describe what I experienced, and it's huge. It's a huge game changer. It's got everything to do with upgrading my own personal life in so many ways. So yeah, Valter Longo, the creator of the fasting mimicking diet, or the FMD, he says, do not do a DIY version. I don't always follow rules, okay? But we're gonna do this responsibly. It can serve as the jumping off point and the start of truly a different version of yourself. It can be a completely new chapter in your life. The fasting mimicking diet has a very specific macronutrient breakdown. So macronutrients, we've got our fats or lipids, we've got our carbohydrates, and we've got our protein. So on day 1 of the FMD, it is a very specific breakdown of those macronutrients. On days 2, 3, 4, and 5, it is a slightly different but very specific breakdown of those macronutrients. If I can encapsulate the fasting mimicking diet in a single word, it would be reset. It is a reset, it is a catalyst, it is a boost, it is a deep cellular cleanse, it is a expedited detox. If you're watching this and you're like, I'm not even sure that I'm interested in doing this, I'm here to tell you that we are always detoxing. So we detox through our breath, our sweat, our pee, and our poo. So if you're worried about like having to do a detox, just know, like just by living, you're detoxing. So it's all good. Dr. Longo, he recommends that we do this once a month for 3 months, and then twice a year until we're like 65 or 70 years old. So who should not be doing the FMD? If you are pregnant, congratulations, but yeah, don't be doing something like this. If you are underweight, or maybe you have some eating disorders, please don't do this. If you are over 70 years old, now Longo states 70 years old in his book. However, in other materials I've read, he mentions 65 and older. So I have noticed that he likes to be very, very safe, which is phenomenal. Now stating 65 is just giving us a buffer and just implementing a little more safety. Thank you, Longo. If you have liver or kidney diseases, it may not be for you. He cautions everybody, like, if you have another chronic disease like cancer, diabetes, cardiovascular, autoimmune, or neurodegenerative diseases, definitely seek permission and approval from a disease specialist as well as from a dietitian with expertise in the FMD or in therapeutic fasting. Basically, he's saying, don't take any risks, just be good to ourselves. Thank you, Longo, again. If you are on medications, particularly if you are a type 2 diabetic, please don't mess around with that. And then if you have low blood pressure, again, just work with the doctor and make sure that, you're being responsible. And then, of course, if you're an athlete and you're in training or if you are in competition, I would imagine if you are an athlete, a competitive athlete, you would not ever dream of doing something like this during a competition, but you know what I mean. So who may do the FMD? Healthy adults in the normal weight range between the ages of 18 and 70 years old. If any side effects occur other than slight weakness, tiredness, or a headache, you should contact your doctor. Drink a small quantity of fruit juice for immediate relief. Now, it sounds pretty intense. I gotta say, it is intense, but when you look back, you think, you know what? It actually wasn't that bad. So it's kind of both. It's super intense. Real intense, especially my first round of this or my first cycle. But eventually it becomes so much easier, and he says that too, and I totally believe it. So side effects. Some people feel weak during parts of the FMD. Others say they feel more energetic. I would say you're gonna feel a little more weak, of course, because you're limiting your calories so extremely from your day-to-day. So expect that, please. Some patients complain of light or average intensity headaches. This effect is usually greatly reduced by day 4 or 5 and eliminated entirely by the second or third FMD cycle. Personally, I drink coffee every single day, sometimes multiple cups, and I have never experienced a headache during any of these that I've done. Now, 8 rounds. Most people feel hungry during the first few days of the FMD. This effect is greatly reduced by day 4 or 5 and on all days during the second or third FMD cycle. This is where I completely disagree. And the people that I've done this with, we have felt hunger every single day on every single round. The good thing is as Longo says, every time we do the FMD, it gets easier and easier, and not that like I don't feel hunger anymore, but I learn to sit with my hunger. And so I am okay with being hungry. It is, I think, an amazing skill to have. I've totally changed my relationship with that feeling, and that feels great. So the positive effects, in addition to the production of stem cells, the reduction of abdominal fat or visceral fat, and lower levels of risk factors for various illnesses. Thank you very much, Longo. Many people report the following beneficial effects during or after FMD. Glowing skin, which many describe as younger looking. 100% agree with that. Stronger mental focus. So if you're about to do this for the first time, please on day 4 and day 5, book some time to yourself, because your stronger mental focus might be going bananas in a very good way. So if you're working on a pretty intense work or like a school project, or maybe you're looking for some sort of clarity in your life, please just allocate a little bit of time to just sit, think about that concept, go for a walk, think about it. You may be amazed with what happens. I know I have. An ability to resist binging once they resume a normal diet. Many reduce their consumption of sugar and calories and are less prone to excess in their consumption of coffee, alcohol, desserts, etc. This is everything. I love this point, and I think it's all about creating some space between us and our temptations, between us and our poisons. You know, like, what's your poison? For me, it is fat and salt together. Most people, it is sugar. From what I've read, a lot of people have sugar habits, and it makes a lot of sense because we as humans, we are sugar seekers. We thrive off of sugar and glucose. That's what powers every single one of our cells. And we live in this modern day society where we have these brilliant food scientists and brilliant marketers creating these amazing products that of course we're gonna get hooked on, and we're gonna want more and more and more. And so go easy on yourself. It's not your fault that we are so hooked on these sugary drinks and sugary products. We are just simply being human. We are just simply a result of our modern day society. Yeah, but you know what I love about this reset is it helps us navigate our modern day environment in a much more empowered and informed way. You know, I've heard of people talk about like our energetic states or vibrating at a higher energetic level. I can't explain that in the least, but I 1000% believe it. I gotta say, on day 4 and day 5, we do just seem to vibrate at a different level. And it's really interesting. And you may see people looking at you very differently, treating you very differently. I believe it was Gandhi who said, when we fast, the light of the world illuminates within us. Like, that quote is so beautiful, and I think that is like I've experienced like a hint of what that really means. The light of the world illuminates within you when you fast. Pretty amazing. If you have received some value out of this video so far, please hit the like, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you don't miss a thing. So how does one do this? All right, so let's go through this. There's a website called cronometer.com. A lot of credible nutritionists use this. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the macronutrient breakdown, which is publicly available, and I've included it and I will include it again in the description. You are going to come up with a list of ingredients. Longo recommends whole plant foods for the most part, and you're gonna input that into Cronometer, work with the macros and the math to come up with those correct breakdowns, devise a menu, pump out a grocery list, go grocery shopping, buy a weight scale, measure your food, and go to town. Alternatively, we are now in this amazing time where you can just input a prompt into ChatGPT and it will pump out a 5-day fasting mimicking diet DIY menu for you. But when you do this, make sure that you're doing it with a friend or 10 friends, okay? Like, there's power in numbers. You're gonna want the support. When you look back, you think, you know what, that really wasn't that bad. But when you're in it, when you're in the thick of it, yeah, it's painful. Yeah, It's challenging. It's challenging. You will prove to yourself how strong you are. We have strength within us, and when we are hit with challenge, we have an opportunity and a decision to make. Are we going to falter and just break down and give in? And when we do that, that's okay, because some days that's just how we're gonna roll. But if you push through and push past it, there's just a world of new opportunity that opens up to us. For me, I can describe it best as a psychological exorcism. I wish I could come up with a different word than that, but exorcism is just the most accurate way that I can explain what happened to me. And this is during the DIY versions, not necessarily the Prolon one. So for me, during these resets, I process a lot of things through my dream state. Normally, I do have very active dreams. I'm one of those people who like remembers the very fine details. And in my dreams, in this particular case, like in real life, I have had a very tumultuous relationship with a very close family member. And of course, it has affected my life in so many ways. And during one of the resets, I was processing, I saw this family member, and this person was very light and very bright, super friendly. The questions that were coming out were just like these beautiful questions. And I just thought, like, who is this? Because my reality is like, this person's super dark, very repressive. And what I realized is that in my dreams, I actually saw the whole person. Of course, this family member has both the dark and the good, right? And so that completely changed our relationship. It was the holidays. I went back home, I visited my family, and we were able to have such an amazing time together. Yeah, it kind of makes me emotional, but yeah, it changed everything. So I would have never expected this. I've, again, never read anybody experiencing something like this after going through a fast, but you know, I'm also still kind of a novice in fasting, or very much a novice in fasting. So, and then because I take a lot of notes during every round or cycle, because oftentimes we forget and we can't really rely on our memory, I was reviewing my notes in preparation of making this video, and I literally heard and saw myself describe me as not a moderate person. Now, that is an accurate statement for my whole life. My whole life, I am not a moderate person in the least bit. But now I am. Now I am. And it took round 7 and 8, my last 2 rounds of doing the 5-day reset, and now I confidently say that I am now a moderate person, and I can say no. I can easily say no. I've come to a point where on the first round, I felt like I was just gonna give up within, I don't know, about like 6 hours into it. I was just not doing very well at all. I was so irritable. I was just a horrible person to our daughter and even to myself. By the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th round, I can now cook up a storm for our daughter without having any issues doing that. She can wave, because she's my biggest troll. She's hilarious. She can wave all of my favorite snacks right in my face. I can smell those snacks and just be totally okay with watching her eat and just enjoy it right in front of me while I'm sitting there with my hunger. So what a huge transition. And I think that is a wonderful skill. It's taught me not only just to sit with my hunger, but it's taught me a lot about who we are and what we are capable of. And this is just a hint. This is just a hint. Talking about upgrades, these are onion sprouts. If you want to learn how to do this in your own home, it's amazing. They're delicious. They're so healthy. And you want to start your mornings with a reset, then yeah, check out that video and I will see you soon.